right, we're going to talk about Google Sites, and I'm sure many of you have already used it, but we're going to go through and I'm going to basically show you all the things that you're going to be required to do. So if you need a little video tutorial to go back and see how to do some of it, it will be right here. So the first thing you need to do is go to sites.new, or go to your drive and create a new site, or go to your apps and create a new Google site. And then you're going to change some stuff on your header. So if I want to just title this my class site, all right, when I click up here, I need to change it. So I'm going to call it my class site. Well, maybe that's not the best thing. My class, I'll just call it. All right. And when you click here, it takes over the name there. All right. So another thing you're going to need to do is change the image header. So if you click on change image, you can select an image, and that allows you to go and browse. So you could search Google for an image if you wanted to. You could go to your Google Drive. If you go to upload, that's going to take you to a folder on your computer. But I'm going to select image, and I'm going to go to my Google Drive. I'm going to click recent. And see, there's my Bitmoji Classroom. I'm going to go ahead and select that. All right, and it's just for readability for you. All right, you can change your header type if you want to. If you want it to look a little bit different, you can do that. All right, and then you've got the navigation bar. So if you, right now I don't have any pages, so you're not going to see the navigation bar. So I'll show you how to do that in a moment. All right. So I want you to add another text box to this page. Well, not another, but one. So over here you have insert, you have pages, and you have themes. So we're going to kind of do a little text box on this first page that just says this is a site that will house, well, that will have resources for our class. All right, so you can write a little description about it. Notice when you start typing, your little toolbar comes up here, so you could center that text if you wanted to. You could change it to being more of a header if you wanted to be bigger. This is where you could delete it if you didn't like it. You could add a link to something if you wanted to. So now I've got my information there. And then I may want to have a calendar. So I could come down here and insert a calendar. All right. But before you add a calendar, you want to make sure that the sharing rights are correct. So I'm going to go over to Google Calendar for a minute. So if I were to pick my ITRT iPods camera, all right, calendar, I need to click on the three dots next to it. And you have to go to settings and sharing. And then scroll down just a little bit. You need to make sure this says make available to public. All right. Now, make the events available and make available to public. That will allow the calendar to show up. So now if I come back over here, I would need to find that calendar. So I think it was called this one. So there's my calendar, and I just click insert. All right, so this way there's a calendar. So if you have a calendar with a Google Classroom, you could insert that calendar for your individual class. You can change it to month view or agenda view. You can go to your settings and change the way things look there. All right, so here I go. Here is my nice little calendar added in. This would open it up in a new tab if I wanted that to happen. All right, so I've now added a description, and I've added the calendar from this particular, what I would say this would be my particular class. All right, so another thing you can do is change the theme. So if you come over here to themes, you could just keep it simple and change the color if you want to, or you can pick a different theme here. All right, I'll stick with, I'm going to go with vision, I think. All right, notice it changes the text color and the text style based on the theme that you pick. So again, if I just go simple there, but maybe I want to go with a different color, I could say, okay, I want things to be more purple or more blue for my font style. I can change to light, classic, or heavy. So play around with the themes and see what you can do with those. And then we're going to start adding pages. All right. So remember, we had insert where you can insert a lot of things. And again, you can even with insert change your layouts down here. I'm gonna go to pages now though, because right now all I have is this home page. So I'm going to add a page with the plus sign. Everything Google, when you need something more, they give you that plus sign. All right, so I'm going to add a new page, and I'm going to call this page resources. All right, and click done. And here we go. There's my resource page. So I'm going to go back to insert now. Notice though how I talked earlier about the navigation bar. Now that I have more than one page, that little gear shows up. So I can change my navigation to go from the top to the side if I wanted to. Close that out. Now you'll see it's going to be over here to my different pages. And go back over here. I really prefer it on the top. And here it is now. All right. So now I'm on my resource page, so I can go between my pages. All right. I'm going to go back to here. And on my resource page now, I'm going to add a text box. All right. And on my text box, I'm going to just say video resources. Video resources. All right. And then my first video resource is going to be a YouTube video. So I'm going to insert and go to YouTube. Maybe I want to find one on using Google Sites. Right. Of course, I would have previewed them ahead of time to make sure that I liked it, but I'm going to go with this video here and select it. Now I've got a nice YouTube video ready to share on my website. All right. So we're going to add one more page. I'm going to go back to pages and I'm going to click that plus sign and we'll call this one class lessons. So maybe this will be a lesson bank. So I'm going to click done. Notice my classes are showing up here. All right. I've got my home. For some reason my picture changed. I'm going to have to go back and look at that. My resources, my class lessons, and they're in this order. So if I wanted class lessons to be before resources, I can just drag and rearrange the order of these if I wanted. All right, so we'll go in that order. So now with class lessons, I'm going to insert a doc. So maybe my lessons. First of all, let's go to insert and let's go back to the text box and we'll just call this lessons. All right, and now I'm going to insert a Google Doc. Now, when I go to Docs, it's going to take me to all of my docs, and I would have to pick the one I want. So maybe I want to share this one. I can click Insert, and there's my Google Doc. All right, now I can make it smaller, I can center it, I can do a little bit of different things with it, right? I'll make it this one a little bit bigger. What is something that you need to be aware of, though, is if you were going to share anything from your Google Drive, you have to, just like your calendar, make sure the sharing rights are correct. So you would want to be in your Google Drive. One thing, it's a good tip to know is you can create a folder and share the rights to that folder. And anything you're going to use in that Google site, put in that folder. So let me show you that. I'm in my Drive and I go to New. Gotta let it load. Go to New Folder and I could call this Class Website. All right, so when I click Create now, any document or Google Slide or anything from my Drive that I want to use, I can put in this folder. So I'm going to want to open this class website. I want to share it. I want to make it available. So right now, only people with the link can open it. So I want to go here and I'm going to say anyone. All right. And now anything I put, notice there's a little head there now. Anything I put in this class website folder will have that sharing right. So I would want to find the document I just created and drag it into this folder. So if you open that folder now and you start creating new things, they're going to have that sharing right. So it'll make it available on your site. So that's just a good tip to know, because it'll look right to you. But then when you publish that website, other people are going to say, see request permission if you have not opened your documents up. And instead of having to do it for every individual Google slide or doc that you may put on your website, if you put the sharing rights to the folder and everything you're going to use in that folder, that will take care of it for you. All right. So now with class lessons, I'm going to go back to my pages. I want to add a sub page. First, I want to bring your attention to this. You can make this the home page. You can duplicate it. You can look at the properties. You can hide it from navigation. So if there is a page that you don't want your students to know about yet, but you want to keep information there, you can create the page, but just hide it from navigation until you're ready to show it. But I'm going to go ahead and click add a sub page. And this subpage is going to be maybe class lessons on certain things. So maybe this subpage is going to be class lessons on using slides. Okay. So when I click done, it looks a little different. So I've got class lessons and I've got slides. I could drag this up and make it a regular page if I wanted to. Notice how it showed up here. And I could also drag it back down and make it a subpage. Oops. So if I add it to like kind of hover over the page I want it to be a sub page to, so it gets highlighted, it becomes the sub page. And now you'll see class lessons now has an arrow and it has my sub page. All right. So on your sub page, let's click on slides. So I'm on that page. It's asked to insert a form. All right. So I would go back to insert and come down here and I would find a Google form. All right. And again, that Google form needs to be in that folder you created in your drive so that the sharing rights are accurate. So if, let's just say this is the form I want. I click insert and there's my form. Okay, so I could stretch it out if I wanted to, but there's my form ready to go. All right. I also want to insert a map on this page. So if I go to insert, I could go to map. All right, so if I had created a map, it would be one of my maps. I could look those up. Here's some different ones. Or I could just search. Let's say I want to find a map of Indonesia. All right. And then I could zoom in if I wanted to, but I'm going to go ahead and just select. And now I've got a map put into my site. All right. Now, a couple things. If you want a collaborator, all right, if you want to have somebody collaborate with you on this, you can click share with others and you could add their name. So let's say I wanted to share this with Elaine. I want her to work on it with me. I would have to make her an editor. All right. I could just say she's a published viewer, but if I want her to work on it with me, she's going to have to be an editor. So then I could send her a message and say, Elaine, please work on this website with me. And hopefully she would. But I'm not going to make her do that. So I'm going to cancel that right now. But that's how a couple students might want to collaborate on a web page together. So I'm hoping as you're going through this, you're already thinking of ways that you could use this in your classroom. You know, it may be a place to house and hold student writings. That's something that's really cool about that is this little collapsible text. So I'm going to go back to my pages and I'm going to go to my resources. I could type a whole lot of text in a collapsible thing. So if I go here and I say collapsible text, I could title this the name of my poem, and then I could copy from Google Docs my whole poem. So then this is the collapsible text. I just have the title of my poem, but when I do that, all my text would show up. So that's a nice way if students wanted to share writing to use that collapsible text here. All right, so when it comes time to viewing your website, couple things. This right here allows you to preview your website on what it would look like on a computer, maybe a tablet, and even a phone. So that allows you to preview there. All right, so I'm going to close out of my preview window and get back to editing. With your settings gear, we looked already at the navigation. All right, there's other things you can look at with like analytics. Do you want to enable it? Viewer tools, announcement banner. So just take a look at those settings at some point in time. Then you've got your three dots here where you could duplicate your site if you wanted to. You could actually go back to a version history if you were working with someone and they made some changes you didn't want. And then when it comes time to publish, the first time you click publish, you get the name here, but right now it's anyone at Montgomery County Schools. So you could manage that and change it if you wanted to. All right, so if you wanted to change it, it could be draft restricted, anyone at Montgomery County Schools can see it, or you could make it public. All right, so again, thinking about your audience, usually if you're putting student stuff on there, just Montgomery County Public Schools would be fine. But if you wanted to share it with parents and you didn't have any personal information on there, you could make it public. All right, so once you've done that, you would just click done and you would have it published. All right, I'm going to cancel that for right now. Now, if you have linked a Google Doc and you update that Google Doc, you do not have to republish. But if you come into your website and you change some text on it or you add a picture, then to keep those changes active, you would have to click publish for it to happen on the actual website. All right. I hope that has helped you in working your way through Google Sites.